Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, Steve Arterburn here. Really glad you're with us today. We've got Dr. Dave Stoop is here and Dr. Alice Benton. Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Hey, Steve.
And Larry Sonnenberg is in the studio, and he'll join us. I mean, he's joining us right now, but he's going to take over here in a little bit. Having a procedure in the family. Not my procedure, somebody else's, so I've got to get back to the house and take care of folks. So anyway, if you want to join us, it's 1-800-229-3000. 1-800-229-3000. And let me just tell you about this weekend. We did Finding Freedom in Dallas, and some of the things that were said was it was the first time I let others know me, and I found that all of us struggle with something, and I'm not alone. Another guy said, I never let anyone in, and I realized that all of the guilt and shame was killing me slowly inside. I am alive in Christ today, and although it's a process, I can truly see that freedom is possible. Another one, this might be my favorite, I'm not really sure. Every single main session reached me and allowed me to see what was holding me back from my freedom. Now that I have identified it, I feel that I can find my freedom and live in it. Thank you, Steve, and the entire New Life Ministry for loving well. Well, let me tell you something. We were helping people do what God tells us to do, to love well. And we have something for couples to do if loving well isn't going well for you. And it's in October, I believe it's the 23rd. Is that right? Somebody check me on that. And it's in Ohio, right in the middle of the country. And it is not too late for you to go. All the freedom that these people discovered, you can have that in your marriage right here within the month. I mean, in October
25th,
right around the corner.
October
25th. Yeah, October 25th, that weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I'm telling you, you can free yourself from so much shame and horror even in a marriage. I mean, we watched it with individuals, and some people, you know, that one guy he went to the first marriage thing, he was still in the affair. Then he goes to every man's battle. Now he comes to finding freedom. Why? Because he decided he wanted his life to be different. And he is making progress over and over again. It's just exciting to see it. I love it. So you come join us for our marriage intimacy intensive. If you're struggling, we really can help you. It's radical. Now, there's something else that's happening today, and we're beginning kind of a new, fun, creative thing. I think we've already raised $5,000 from it. It's our New Life auction. Larry, talk about that. Tell everybody about it.
Well, it's $6,200 right now as we stand.
All right, it's gone up $1,000 in an hour there.
Yeah.
So come join us, everybody.
Well, it's it's a really fun thing for us to see this finally take root and move. We've done a lot of work on it. There are 62 things you could bid on. There is everything from cruises. We've had bid on a cruise. We've had bids on coaching sessions. The list just left my computer. But anyway, there are so many things. We have camera equipment. We've got coaching sessions. We've got Steve's artwork. Sculptures. And
Brain Spec by Dr. Amen. Yeah. And actually, you know, the stuff where you can go and stay and experience life is pretty amazing. And you know what else? Some toys and baseball cards and all sorts of creative things. Well, and every bit of it helps us.
The other thing I wanted to say is this is a charity auction. This is not an auction where we're hoping everybody just goes to get the best deal they can get. But we are
supporting
looking for
us.
Somebody to, give support.
Hold on.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Columbus, Ohio, October 25th to the 27th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship, and then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, Steve Arterburn here, and it takes New Life to do something to where to support this ministry, you can get an Elvis Presley Jailhouse Rock 45 record, which, at one time all the Christians were saying that Elvis was evil because he moved his legs, or a John the Baptist sculpture that's worth over $8,500. It's just amazing. And then there's a bust of the Apostle Paul. You can go deer hunting in Ohio or farm life in Ohio. And of course, there is the international piece that I presented. My vase is international because it's a Chinese motif, but it's on a plaster of Paris is what it's made of, and then it's painted in an American motif. See, so it's international in appeal, but still, there are no bids on it yet, even with all that. But everything you do here, it's not just a matter of getting these fun things, as Larry was saying. It's a matter of you support New Life. All of it goes to support us. And so please go to the website. It's right up there at the top, newlife.com, or you can look at the app and you'll see it. And make a bid, and you'll end up with something great, and all the money goes right to us.
Steve, don't forget there are 2 cruises on there, and one of them is our ministry cruise next year, the Rhine River
cruise.
Oh,
my goodness. Yeah, so you could bid on that.
Yeah, the opening bid of that is for 2 people to go, and it's the price of 1 if you're the opening bid and nobody else bids on it. So, and there's an electric guitar that was in Milan's family for years. There's all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, there really is. Okay, so go there, and sailing and all sorts of things, and see what you can do, and I think it'll be enjoyable, and it all supports us. 1-800-229-3000. That is the phone number. And how about we go to Marie from Huntington Beach, California. KKLA is the station. Marie, how are you?
Good morning or afternoon. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing all right. How can we help you today?
Yes. Well, I guess I was referred to saying that this might be a good question for Alice Dunton to address, but all of you could give me any advice. I would be way open to it.
Okay.
My husband and I both went to seminary at different locations prior to our marriage, and I've always wanted a ministry marriage, and even I was in a severe car accident, but I since then I've become a motivational speaker, even though I've been in a wheelchair and things of the sort. However, and I was doing inner city work with kids, and I feel like in some ways I feel like I've married one of my clients or one of my kids because that's just grown up. And what I mean by that is I know that from my psychology background, I'm not a therapist, but I have had some schooling in that area. And I feel like I know that patterns are repeated. And so even though he says that the parents he has now are not the parents he had as a kid, because his parents, he's from another country, and his parents became Christians from missionaries, and now they're church leaders within their own country.
Tell us the problem. What is the problem you're having to deal with now?
The problem is I'm living in a hotel now for the last going on 3 weeks, and why I've left. This is like the 4th time I've left. Is just because of anger, and I had experienced some physical abuse. That's not the way now, and my husband is working with a Christian counselor, and we have had in the past gone to him. One, like on Monday, would be couple, and then Tuesday would be individual for him, and then Thursday would be individual for me. I stopped going to him because I didn't feel like things were being reported or addressed, and I felt like there was fighting and manipulation that was happening, and so I left and found my own individual. A couple of Sundays ago, I had to leave because some rage and things that were just, I felt like my daughter had just woke up, and he was demanding her to bring him his shoes and just was going to punish her for ridiculous things. So, and I just felt like my question to you is, I need help to know where to go. Tomorrow is going to be checkout. My husband has been paying for the hotel here and there, but he doesn't feel like the separation is a mutual and not biblical because it wasn't a mutual agreement. And he feels, and I've asked him twice. And let
me ask you a quick question. Now, does he think that his rage and hitting you was biblical when he was physically abusive with you?
Well, I had a 2.5-hour conversation with a pastor and him, and he's excusing things and minimizing, and he feels that I over-exaggerated.
So my point is this: we're not into him telling you what's biblical and what isn't, because see, he is a fallen leader. He is in a place where he has no right to say anything about anything until he's able to treat the people in his life as Christ would treat them, right? Christ would not treat you this way. Isn't that correct?
Right, and I just say that, we are known by our love.
And also this,
we are Christians by our love.
It's very clear that God wants us to worship him. But he says, if you are at the church, at the altar, ready to worship me, and somebody has something against you, forget about me, God says. You go make it right with them. Your husband needs to make it right with you. He needs to be at a humble place, not an authoritarian lecturing place. He needs to say, what could I do to make it up for you? And a hotel bill for you to feel safe is a small thing. All right, now you asked for Alice's advice. So Alice, what do you think here when you... Yeah, okay, it's all right, but we also, Dave wrote The Angry Man with me. He wrote about your husband. But Alice, you get us started here. What do you think?
Marie, could you just clarify your question for us? Is it where to go next since you're leaving the hotel?
Well, yeah. I mean, I could ask him to keep on paying, but because we have insurance money, and it's such an uphill battle for him to pay for this. But I said, if you're going to provide, we left because of you. But I mean, I have an attorney. Do I kick him out of the house if he's not willing to go? I mean, I don't want to go live in a shelter with homeless people and drug addicts. I've done that before.
Okay, Marie, I'm going to jump in then. I'm going to jump in with another question. Is your daughter with you? Did you take her with you?
Yes.
And is she the only child?
My mom is staying with us.
Okay,
yes.
And she's the only child. Okay. I think it's completely legitimate to ask him to leave the home as a show of trust to you. He's going to counseling, so that is a good sign, but that the rage continues and that you and your daughter feel unsafe around him. I do believe there's a biblical principle, and this comes from Matthew, that when we have told someone how they're sinning against us, and we have a witness, you did this with the pastor, and that person continues in the same sin against us, there is good reason to separate ourselves from them until we see ongoing proof that change is actually taking place. So I would have you brace yourself that I don't think your husband will leave the home. Unfortunately, I don't think he will.
Right.
But it is a very good question to ask. It's a litmus test. His response will be very telling to you of whether or not he's becoming safer.
Well, I've asked him 2 times, and then another time with the pastor on Friday. And now I'm going to have another family member go over there today and ask. But I'm saying, I've got to call the attorney and ask him to...
Yeah, I do think that given that you have a daughter who deserves to have a normal life sleeping in her room safely, I think you should tell him the next thing is for you to get an attorney to take care of him leaving so you and your daughter can be safe there. That's what I would do.
That's the Christian thing to do on his part, is to
leave.
I have medical supplies there and things. I have a sleep number bed to prevent pressure sores. I've already had 3 surgeries for that. So.
Okay, all the more reason. And I'm going to tell you something. If a pastor isn't supportive of you, with you being in a wheelchair, needing special equipment and all of that, you have to ask yourself, what in the world is going on with this pastor? That is not right. You need to be...
No, he is supportive. He is supportive.
Okay, good. Okay, so you've gone to...
The pastor is, but the counselor isn't.
Oh, well, then forget the counselor.
She already has.
And you've gone to your pastor. He's supportive. So then the next thing would be a legal step to get the things that you're entitled to, the things that you deserve, especially in your condition. So we're 100% supportive of that. Now I'm going to tell you something positive, okay? If there would be any way that he would agree to come to the marriage intensive, we would cover that for you. We would give you a scholarship for that. Now let me tell you why. Because you're the perfect example of an impossible situation that when a person comes, the marriage is saved. We've had situations so much worse than this. And if we can get both people there, everything changes. About 75% of the people are in shape like you. Others just want a better marriage. But 95% walk away from there, and things are different forever. So I want you to hold on. I want to see.
Our daughter in a Christian. I mean, the way I would give back is I've been a motivational speaker. I'd be glad to talk at your events and be a representative for you guys once we're whole.
Here's what you could do.
I'm a give back person.
Okay, well, I love that, but you don't have to do anything but come and listen. But the key would be getting him to be willing to come. That's always the tough part. But I'm telling you, when that pastor says to him, we've been offered something that's worth a lot just because this organization cares about our situation and they know they've got the answer, it's pretty hard. You know, I would love to see what excuse he could come up with there, because we don't offer this to everybody. But I hear you. I hear your heart. And you have a daughter, and you have you're in a wheelchair, and you need to be back in that house. So legal things on the negative side, you probably have to do that. On the positive, let's try to get you into our marriage intensive. And anybody else, you might be saying, oh, her situation's nothing compared to mine. You ought to pick up the phone and call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, NEWLIFE, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's the 25th of October. And people that come will not have the same marriage when they leave. 95% or so, that'll be the case. That's pretty amazing record of success. All right, let's go to Ed, Branson, Missouri. Listens on Sirius XM, channel 131, 1 p.m. Ed, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys today?
Doing all right. What's going on?
Well, I've been out of a long-term marriage almost 35 years, for about 4 years now. And, you know, there were many infidelities and leaving and stuff for periods of time during the marriage. I didn't really realize, even though I knew things were wrong, I didn't really realize until the end of the marriage. And after I got out and started doing some researching about narcissistic abuse, especially covert narcissism.
Yeah.
And so where I'm at this point is I've been out about 4 years trying to get better, thinking I was going to get better, and I'm just stuck. You know, I just am stuck. I can't move forward. Everything's overwhelming to me. And I've been trying to find someone to counsel with that understands and can help with the narcissistic abuse. But, you know, I live in a small area. There's nobody in the area that can. I've heard some of your shows and I've heard some of your speakers talk about and understanding it and working with that. So I'm trying to find some way I can get someone to work with that can help me move forward in my life.
Okay, even better than that, we're going to try to give you some help here. When I come back, Larry will take over, and we'll try to help you and others in this situation of not being able to move forward. The phone number, 1-800-229-3000. 1-800-229-3000. There is a weekend coming up that could save your marriage and save your life for some of you. There's also a great way for you to support us. It's an auction. You'll find it at newlife.com or on the New Life app. Right now, you could get help by calling us at 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back right after this with more New Life Live.
My wife had found me out through my past and my sexual addiction since I was a small child. It really gave me the opportunity to start digging into my past, start digging into my childhood, figure out what was causing me to feel the way I was feeling. Every Man's Battle will really give you that opportunity because all the guys there in that room are there for the exact same reason you're there. I don't want to be the reason that my kids are going to counseling. I don't want to be the reason that they begin to struggle with the same issues that I'm struggling with, and I've got to put an end to this. Yes, you can be different. God does love you. You can be forgiven for this, and there's a way out of this. But you have to acknowledge that you have to change, and that there's a problem.
If you're struggling, call us. There are people on the other end of the line who want to hear from you, who want to help you. We don't want you to hand down something to another generation that just looks like pain and destruction. You can hand down redemption. But you got to take that first step. Just give us a call. It's 1-800-639-5433. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, welcome back. We are talking with Ed, but before we go back to Ed, I just want to remind you, there's still a couple lines open. Call us at 800-229-3000. Alice and Dave are eager to respond to your good questions. Okay, let's talk with Ed. Alice, what are your thoughts on the narcissistic issue he's bringing up?
Ed, you have been through decades of trauma, and I would bet that your wife was not the first that brought some of this toxic behavior into your life. So first, we want to acknowledge that, how much pain and loss you have been through. And knowing that you want to get better, you want to move forward, would you tell us a couple of the things you've been doing in these 4 years in order to get healthier and to heal from the past?
Sure. Initially, I was doing a lot of research and studying about, the situation, and that's where I ran across the narcissist type stuff, especially covert narcissism. And I started studying, researching, trying to do everything I could, started reading. I am now back in an area where I lived before, got back with the church that I helped start when I was here years ago.
And Ed, I'm going to interrupt. Specifically,
sure.
what have you been doing in relationship with other people, like telling your story or being able to grieve with people that can understand, not necessarily the in-depth living with a narcissism, but people that can sympathize with you and walk alongside you?
Yeah, not a whole lot, because most people, they don't get it. They don't understand it when you try to start, explaining the situation. They just don't get it. And I've really kind of just hibernated pretty much.
And that's why you're kind of overwhelmed by it. You're hiding.
And Ed, we're concerned for you that you're waiting for.
Don't understand.
Well, that is true, that many people can't understand, especially the depth of what you have been through. But we're worried that you're waiting for the perfect person to open up to. Now you're already taking a step beyond that because you're calling us here and you're looking for help, and we can connect you with a counselor who does have deeper understanding and can work through the trauma of what you have been through. But our hope is for you that you won't just wait for that person that can completely understand, because
yeah, I'm not so much waiting for a person to completely understand, because like I say, this has been a 4-year process at this point. And in the beginning, when I was talking about it more, trying to share it and stuff, like I say, it was almost pushing people away, it seemed like, because they didn't get it. They, gone through it. It's kind of like losing a child, which, I've had that experience as well. Even though people care and they, would like to help, if they haven't gone through that experience, it's really hard. I would actually say it's impossible for them to really understand what you're dealing with. So I did try to share it more in the beginning.
Okay. And it is very difficult to find good people and the right people who can just sit with you in your pain without trying to give you too much advice too quickly. I love this struggle because I've been through it as well. And by loving it, I mean I want to inspire you that you keep trying until you find the right people. I myself was looking for a group for particular reasons too, and I had to walk through 5-6 groups and spend a couple of weeks with each group to figure out if it was going to be a good fit for me. And the key is the perseverance, because God will bring the right people into your life, and we can help with our network of counselors that are vetted. We know what their specialties are, and we can get you to the right person. But I hope you continue to try groups as well, because each group does have grace to give you that you need, and hibernating gives too much power to the past and it keeps you in the pain.
Yeah, right. I mean, is there a particular type of group that you would, because I've tried to check around to see if there was any type of group in the area dealing with that type of situation, and I really don't find any around here. So,
see, I think what's happened, Ed, is you've developed the intellectual understanding of what went on, but you haven't brought it into relationship yet, and it's like you've developed the muscles in your right arm to such a degree that it's very strong, but you've neglected your left arm and it's very weak. And somehow you got to be patient enough to find the balance between getting support from people and understanding what's going on, and allowing them not to understand fully what's going on, but to empathize with you and to stand with you as a fellow pilgrim in life's process. And I think that's going to break the cycle that you're caught in, where you've kind of got such high standards for sharing that you don't share. So somehow you've got to lower those standards and know that I got to develop the muscles in that left arm to where I let people empathize with me, even though they don't fully understand. I can empathize with you and understand your pain without understanding the causes of the pain. Mm-hmm. And that's something you've got to be willing to experience.
And it's always worthwhile to ask for feedback about how do I come across? Do I overwhelm you with too much of my story too quickly? So ask some trustworthy people to give you feedback about yourself.
And you might even consider starting a group if you don't find a group. A lot of times that's the best way to get into something. We'll come back right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in the biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, welcome back. We've been speaking with Ed. Ed, a couple of things real quick. We're going to send you a copy of Understanding and Loving a Person with Narcissism. And as far as the group goes, ask the call screener to transfer you to Reba. And Reba handles the calls dealing with groups at our call center. She may have one that she can help you with, but if she doesn't, she may have a resource that you could use to invite somebody, go to a church and ask if you could start a group for what you're dealing with. And we hope that'll help you. Okay, before we move on, I just want to remind folks we have a life recovery workshop coming up, and it is how come I don't have the title? It's about happy. Anyway, that's in October. October 5th, and we've added a speaker to that. We currently have Dave Stoop and Chris Williams and Steve Arterburn and a well-known guy named John Townsend is willing to speak to that. So give us a call. Call 800-NEW-LIFE and ask about our Life Recovery Conference. And it's something that's really going to make a difference for you. Okay, we're going to go talk to Teresa. Teresa is in Dallas, listens on the Word, KWRD. Hello, Teresa. How can we help you?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I lost my 19-year-old son about 7 years ago. He was murdered. And since that time, I'm just finding it hard to feel anything. And this troubles me because of my walk with the Lord. I want to feel joy. And
Teresa, what work have you done? Have you gone to a grief group or grief share? Tell us what you have done.
I haven't done that. I've read books, and I like to think before this time I was pretty emotionally stable and pretty balanced. But this whole thing has just rocked my foundation. Imagine. I know God is sovereign. His ways are higher than mine, and I truly do believe that. And I know where my son is. Those things don't bother me. There's a disconnect somewhere in my emotions and this event that
Dave,
I've kind of shut down.
Dave, speak to this.
Well, there's nothing normal about losing a child, especially through violence like that. So it's so out of order. Your kids are supposed to outlive you, and there's a sense in which when one of your kids is taken early, there's the feeling that he's going to be forgotten. Nobody's going to notice that he lived, and so you've got it's an ongoing grief that doesn't end because of the out of orderness of the whole thing. But you've got to get support for what you're going through. Years ago, I started a group at our church called Caring Friends for parents who had lost children, and they became supportive with each other. They told stories about their kids. One of the things they did that caught on was to create a memory location in their home where they put artifacts from their child and built sort of like a shrine almost, you might say, but it's not. It wasn't something that you worship, but it was something that kept the memory alive. But
right.
you've got to get with people who understand the pain. And the problem that we ran into was that people were afraid to talk about their child because other people thought might be contagious, that if something happened to your child, something could happen to my child. And finding other friends who have the same experience made a big difference in terms of what they were able to grieve. But it's a grief that'll go on the rest of your life. But it doesn't have to be dominant.
It'll subside, yeah. Right.
So just finding like people and sharing.
If your church doesn't have a grief group, look at other churches and find a group of people that are dealing with grief.
A grief group in general is very helpful, but if you could find one where they had other parents who had lost a child, that would be even more helpful.
Okay. What about professionally?
Yeah,
are
counselor.
there things that I could be missing that a counselor might be able to help me with?
Oh, definitely. There's two facets to grieving that are important, and one is anger and protest at what was wrong, and the other is sadness and resignation. And women tend to do the sadness part well and have a trouble time with the anger, and men tend to do the anger part well and have trouble with the sadness. And so getting a counselor that understands grief helps you to balance the process, which helps you to resolve it.
We have a lot of really good counselors in the Dallas area. So if you would hold on and speak with our call screener, she can transfer you over to our call center staff, and they could help you find a counselor right there in Dallas. But it's the community where you're going to get healthy, and the counselor is going to help you immensely too. And Alice has another thought.
Teresa, I think I have heard tears at the edges of your voice once or twice when you've been talking with us. And I think that grief is it's on the edge, but you need those safe people who then can draw it out. The Bible tells us that we are deep waters and we need a person of understanding to help us understand ourselves. But being in shock and not having tears is also very common in going through such a tragedy, an unimaginable tragedy as you have. So I ask you to be patient with yourself, to not condemn yourself that you don't have tears easily. It's normal, but loving people will draw you out and draw your story out, and you will feel a change of heart as you move through that process.
And
there's something powerful about sharing your story with people who understand, and that's why a grief group can be so helpful.
Teresa, we have a little grief package. We're going to send it to you. It's got little CD that Jill Hubbard and Henry Cloud did on grief. And we've got a little booklet on grief, a transcription from a video that we did. And we're going to send that to you. We found that a lot of people have found those very, very helpful. Okay, before we go and speak with Grace, just want to remind you folks, if you make a gift today, we'll give you a copy of the Kirby McCook and the Jesus Chronicles. That's a book that Steve and co-author wrote that is for 8 to 12-year-olds, and it's quite a book. And as a matter of fact, there's an autographed copy of it on our auction. So if you go to our website and click on the banner for the auction, and help us with bidding on one of the items. We've got items that vary from thousands of dollars to tens of dollars. So give us a call with that. Let's talk to Grace. Hello, Grace. How can we help you?
Hello. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you guys. So I've been with my husband for 15 years, and he's always kind of had an addictive personality. But the past 2 years, he's been smoking marijuana all day, every single day, and refuses to get a job and support his family. And, I mean, I've been through a lot with him, but I just don't know what else to do. He doesn't want to listen to me or my feelings about it. We have no communication, basically, right now. It's really difficult.
So are you working and he's not?
So we have a farm that we own, and he just kind of stays on the farm, and and I am a nutritional therapist. So he says he's working, but he doesn't make any money.
Wow. Well, that's a consequence of smoking pot like he's smoking, because one of the things that it destroys is the motivational part of the frontal cortex. And
I guess my question is specifically, how do I put up boundaries without enabling him? Because I've been paying his child support and, feeding him and doing all the things that I would normally do as a wife.
So he was previously married and he has a child support payment to make?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. You really need to go to an Al-Anon meeting, Grace, because
I've gone to Al-Anon, and the people there look at me like I don't belong almost, because my husband smokes pot and it's not as significant as the alcohol.
Well, then go to a different group, because that's a group that's kind of uppity about their alcoholic spouse, and you just go to a different group and get the help that you need, because you're doing things for him that he should be doing for himself. And one of the things that Al-Anon will do is help you stop doing that. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Everybody wants to be happy, but the problem is so many of us are stuck in the struggles of life and weighed down by our past hurts and mistakes. If you want to learn how to become a happier you, join us for this year's Life Recovery Conference.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here, and a lot of times I hear people say, recovery just isn't for me, I'm not an addict. Well, actually, recovery is for everyone. If you're struggling in any area, you don't have to be an addict to do better when you surrender and take the steps to a happier life.
12 Steps to Happier with speakers Steve Arterburn, Dr. Dave Stoop, Chris Williams, Becky Brown, Jack West, and Amanda Anderson on Saturday, October 5th at Mariners Church in Irvine.
Come join me and our team of speakers for a day filled with wisdom and practical help.
12 Steps to Happier, October 5th at Mariners Church in Irvine. To register, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit liferecoverygroups.com. That's 1-800-639-5433 or liferecoverygroups.com.
Last year, after every man's battle, I was so moved by the transformation that I saw, not only in myself, but in the guys in our small group and the other people that were there and the stories that I heard, that I decided to go ahead and join Club New Life as a contributor to that.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
You guys are doing God's work here. You're restoring marriages. You're giving people hope. It's just been such a blessing to me, and I just wanted to encourage you all. When you see something good that God's doing, just jump on that and help support that.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433.
Give your support to them if you can, and just help them do what God's doing here in the world.
Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're speaking with Grace, and she's got an issue with a husband smoking pot, and she seems to be enabling and trying to find help and really can't. So Alice, why don't you tell us what you think we should do for Grace?
Grace, we recognize that your position is very difficult, and I think you naturally have a loving, giving heart, and that's just what you've been trying to do with your husband. And we're concerned for you that you have been pulled into doing more for him than is healthy for either one of you, and some of your help, unfortunately, allows him to stay stuck. So I'd ask you to do an audit of all these things you do for your husband that keep him immature and that build resentment within you. Those are two really strong signs that we do not have good boundaries in that area if either one of those things are happening. So paying his child support, we wonder about that one and if it's possible to pull back. And I think it depends in part on the relationship maybe you've developed with the child and the other parent, but that's a concerning area for us. And so what I'd have you do is, as you evaluate what you should pull back in doing, to slowly start removing some of these things that you should be doing for him, letting him know, I have not been loving you well in these areas, and so I need to let this go and let you take on your own responsibility. You can also make a very firm request for him to stop smoking and to get treatment to be able to help him to stop. And his response will tell you what you need to do after that. Because if he's willing, fantastic, maybe he gets the help he needs. But if he's not willing, then you have to decide how you're going to protect yourself financially, emotionally, legally, and how you might need to distance yourself from him. Perhaps even down the road, legal separation, if you find he's not willing to do any of those things. And this is actually a biblical way of loving him better and removing these supports that are keeping him stuck.
And the thing you've got to understand, Grace, is that pot is extremely addictive these days. It's the percentage of THC, the addictive element, is so much higher than it was in previous years that it is a true addiction in spite of the mythology that surrounds it. And you're dealing with somebody who is addicted and who is choosing to live his life that way instead of being responsible. And you've got to stop being responsible on his behalf, or else you'll just continue to do the same things over and over again.
So, Grace, we're going to send you a copy of Understanding and Loving a Person with Drug and Alcohol Addiction. I think that might help you. And we'll be praying for you. So thank you for calling. Okay, let's go talk with Chris. Chris is on line 2. Calling from WEZE, our good station in Boston, Massachusetts. Chris, we don't have a lot of time, but we want to talk to you, so tell us how we can help you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for taking my call. I'm calling because my daughter, I'm like 98% sure that she was molested by my ex-husband when she was a little girl. And now she's 29, and there was a lot of suspicious stuff. You know, I put one and one together eventually, and I asked her. They went to live with their dad when they were about 8 and 9 years old, my son and my daughter. And so now she's still very friendly with him. She goes, you know, he also had a thing where he told me he was a gay man, he was a homosexual, and I'm like my mind was blown, but I'm like, wow, okay. Then all of a sudden he just got remarried, and like everything looks so good on the outside. It's my daughter goes down to where he lives for the weekend. She's always in pictures with him, smiling, and she basically admitted it to me years ago, and I just don't want to collude with it. I don't know. Her and I have a decent relationship, not the best. She just took me out for my birthday, but I don't want to just pretend like it's normal when I know darn well it isn't. And
if you had a question, what would your question be? Because we were short on time.
How do I deal with my daughter and not just pretend like, oh, you're going to Dad's for Thanksgiving, that's great, or you went down to his house for the weekend with him and his new family, oh, that's wonderful. Like, how do I bring up that, they had issues.
You ask a question like, how can you do that when he did what we've talked about he did to you?
I think I understand that she's doing that, and I get it. How do I deal so that I don't have to push it all under the rug to her and just be like, oh, Dad?
I'd ask her how she does it, how she handles it.
Be honest with her?
Yeah.
Be
how
honest
can you
with
go
her.
see your dad when he did what he did to you?
It shows how important dads are, for one thing, but it's also an incongruent kind of situation. And you have every right to ask.
And she says, Mom, you don't have to be heavy about everything. But I am going to just break out and say something.
Just ask a question.
Very gently.
Just ask a question, gently ask, how do you handle that emotionally? And see what she says.
And you might admit to her, too, that it's tough for me. I want to be happy for you. I want to rejoice in good things in your life, but this is an area that's really hard because I'm concerned about what your dad did and the harm that he caused. But molestation, especially sexual molestation, can bring in such confusing dynamics for the victim, especially when it's a parent, because of the possible physical pleasure that was involved, the closer relationship that was built, and even in an unhealthy way, but it was closer on levels than it should have been. And your daughter might have felt like that she had a special place in her dad's life because of the molestation, and that's terribly confusing. So I would also recommend you going to a therapist, because you don't want to bring too much to your daughter too often and wreck the relationship with her, but you need a place where you can safely bring your outrage and your upset and your confusion about this, and a therapist is a great place to do that.
Great counsel. Good advice. Thank you, Alice. Chris, what book? I had a book in mind, but it's escaping me.
I think Take Your Life Back.
Okay, let's do that. I'll send that copy to you. And thank you for calling. Folks, in the final minute and a half or so here, I just want to encourage you for your support to New Life. There are so many ways you can support us. We have our Club New Life, the monthly giving, one-time gift. We'll send you a copy of Kirby McCook. And we have our auction going on right now. And we're excited about this auction. We're looking for it to raise some money. Every item was donated to New Life. We didn't spend any money purchasing these items or convincing people to give us these items. If you'll go online and look, you can just go to our website and take a look at all the different items. Click on the banner that says visit our auction. And there are a lot of bids going out right now. And if you've been to a silent auction, it's often the case that somebody comes in the very last minute before the auction closes, and they sign their name and they make their bid and they get it. And the person that bid before them didn't even have a chance to make another bid. Well, in our auction, if that happens, the auction will be extended for another 5 minutes, and the previous bidder will get notified, and he or she can make another bid. I just want to encourage you, you don't have to worry about being swooped upon. You can make your bid now. You can make it now, and you can wait, and if you get a notice at the end, you can make another bid. But we are so grateful for everybody who has donated to this auction. We're grateful for everybody who is participating, and we're grateful to everybody who is giving in other ways. We love what we do here. We're very grateful. We do it because lives are different. God delivers hope in so many ways, and one of the ways is through the help that He brings to us through New Life. So thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.